Welcome listeners to our second episode of the Soar Beyond podcast from Whittle. We're really excited to be back with you to share more of our successes. Welcome to our second instalment of Book Talk. This is part of our new podcast at Whittle, and last time we spoke to a parent about their book recommendations. So this week we are going to children to see if you've got any recommendations about what your favourite book is and why. So Lily, can I go to you? Can you tell us what your favourite book is at the moment and then why that's your favourite book?
My favourite book is Beetle Boy by M.G. Leonard because it's descriptive, and I also like how it just explains, because it's about beetles, it explains what type of beetles they are and how interesting they are, and they share a lot of facts even though it is a fiction story.
That's interesting. So it's got a factual part to it and a narrative fiction part to it.
Yeah.
So who's the main character in the story?
Darkus.
And what's he like?
He is quite curious, and he's also quite adventurous because his dad went missing, and he's trying to look for his dad, but he found a beetle, and that beetle's trying to help him.
Has he made friends with the beetle, a pet?
He's also got two best friends called Virginia and Elton, I think his name is, and they're really good friends, and their neighbours are cousins, and they have this thing called furniture forest.
What does that mean? Tell me about that.
It's their back garden is just full of furniture, and they made a base. So they climbed over the fence. They made a base in their furniture forest to try because in their top window they have a mountain of cups that have loads of different beetles, and Darkus is trying to save them as they are being put in danger by Lucretia Cutter.
Wow. So it's got two main parts to it. One that he's trying to find his dad, and one that he's also trying to save beetles as part of the story.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. You've got to really follow the storyline. Have you finished the book yet?
Not yet. I've got almost half of it left.
Okay, what do you think might happen next then?
I think he's gonna get caught by the cousins, and their name's Humphrey and Pickering. I think they're gonna get caught because they're in their backyard, and they almost got caught because they looked out their window and they heard something, but luckily they didn't get caught. So they
haven't noticed all this furniture in their back garden?
No, they know the furniture's there, they just don't realise Darkus and his friends are there.
Okay. Using it as a base.
Yeah.
Right. So you'll have to come back, I think, and give us an update afterwards, won't you? Because I'd like to hear about the ending to Beetle Boy, and make sure that some of our other children from listening to this podcast, hopefully they'll think they might have a read.
Beetle Boy is, I'd 100% recommend it.
Good. I can tell from your face that you 100% recommend it. Thank you, Lily.
No problem.
Hi, Elise.
Hi.
I've asked you to come and talk to me because I'd like to find out about what you're reading. As part of our new podcast, we are doing a section on book talk. So I would love to see, you've got it in your hand, I can see, what book you are really passionate about.
It's called Sapphire's War.
And why is it that you really like Sapphire's Walk?
I just like the storyline of it, and I think I mostly like the friendship of the girls in it.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about the storyline? Who are the main characters and what's happening in the story?
So the main character is called Sapphire, and she has a best friend called Isabel, but in Paris in this time there's a war going on, and her best friend Isabel moves away to, I think it's England, and then her whole life changes, and I just like how the story goes on.
Okay, so her whole life changes because they were best friends, were they? And one of them's had to move away. So how are the characters feeling at that point in the story?
I think Sapphire was quite upset about it because when she first saw her best friend, who's called Isabel, leave, she was quite sad, and she didn't really go out her house much when she left because how sad she was. And Isabel was really sad that she was leaving.
How far have you got into the book?
I'm halfway through it. I'm not at the end yet.
That's okay. And what do you think is going to happen as the story progresses?
I think maybe Isabel might come back.
Okay, so Isabel's in England, but you think she might come back to where Sapphire is in France. And what do you think, what will happen then, do you think?
Maybe I don't know, maybe Isabel will come back to France to see like Sapphire, and maybe Sapphire will sneak back with Isabel to England.
Oh, who knows? I would love to find out though. If you come and tell us in another one of our podcasts, we'd like to hear how that story ends. But I think we've given enough of a teaser to our viewers that if they're interested, they might go and get that book out of a library or go and buy it from a shop, and they might read it too and see what happens at the end of the story. So thank you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode Spotlight on Staff. And today you have myself, Mrs. Morgan Smith, and I have got Miss Starkey with me. Hello, Miss Starkey.
Hello.
Who's our Year 6 teacher. So we're going to talk a little bit first of all about how we got into teaching, because I think it's important for our community not just to know as a staff at the school, but as people as well, with our own hobbies and interests. And we don't get to often talk about things like that at parents' evenings and school events. So I know that in our last episode you already heard from Mr. Mushing and Miss Uden, so now you've got myself and Miss Starkey. I'll start with me. So I really had an interest in being a teacher, but I wasn't 100% sure if that was the career for me, and I knew that it would be tricky to do a teaching degree and then pivot my career and do something else, so I kind of did it the other way around. So I went to university in Wales and did a fine art and art history degree, which I really thoroughly enjoyed. I majored in illustration, and for a while that was going to be my career path and be an illustrator, but I found that is quite a difficult sort of career, because there's not much sort of stability and you don't know when you're going to have work. One point you might have lots of work, another point you might not, and I'm someone that really likes routine. I like structure, so I felt actually a career in teaching might be something I would be more interested in, and keeping the art side of things as a hobby. So I then decided to get some work experience in a few different settings. I wasn't sure what age group I wanted to teach, whether it was early years or older children. And then eventually decided to do a postgraduate certificate in education at Warwick University. So I did that, and and I have been a teacher ever since. That was quite a long time ago now, but I thoroughly enjoy it. And I still, even though my role at the moment is deputy head, I still teach every day, and I still really love, that's my favourite part of the job, just being with the children and watching them succeed and watching them thrive. So that's my route into teaching. Miss Starkey, how about you? Did you have a different journey to myself?
Very similar in some ways.
Yeah.
So I think mine started really when I was almost primary age myself. You play with your friends and you're playing schools and mums and dads. So I always enjoyed playing schools, doing the register, and thought, right,
I was similar.
Definitely, this is something I wanted to do. And I was really lucky that lots of my family members have worked in education. So my gran was a head teacher, so was my auntie. So I've always had those as role models around me. So when I was in school and, in my teens, I started to volunteer at my auntie's school. And then, school passes by so quickly, and suddenly you've done your GCSEs, you've done your A-levels, and you think, oh, what now? And again, I wasn't completely sure, a bit like you. So I went to university in Lancaster, and I did a degree in sociology, because that was a subject at school I just really enjoyed. And I thought, as I don't know, if I do something I enjoy, then I've got options. And whilst I was at university, I volunteered at a school in Morecambe, and I thought, this is what I want to do. This is definitely what I want my career to be. So then after university, I did a teaching programme in Coventry, and then, became a teacher, which is brilliant. And I love it, because every day, I think this was the thing that drew me to it, every single day is different. You're always working with the children. You never know what a day is going to have. And it's just, it's a brilliant career.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that about you, so that's really insightful for me as well. I suppose being a teacher, although the school day is a little bit shorter than the working day, our working days are quite long.
Definitely.
You and I are here till sometimes quite late in the evening. So it's hard to have time for hobbies, but I think it's really, really important to have things outside of teaching, because it can be quite a full-on, and it can be all-consuming if you don't sort of take the time out of your day to do other things. So something I really enjoy is sort of doing all sorts of different types of exercise. I used to do a lot of circuit training, I do yoga, Pilates. I like to go swimming. So I feel like that is a really good de-stressor for me. It makes me feel good when I exercise. I said before about art as a hobby. I still draw and paint. I feel really enjoy that. I absolutely love, I've got a dog called Jack. He's a little beagle, and I absolutely love taking
How
him
old
on
is he?
walks. He is 6 now. He's a rescue, so we think he's about 6. You don't roughly know his exact age, but yeah, and he loves going on massive hikes and big walks. So I love doing that with him and my husband, and going on like holiday to Lake District and places like that. That's something I really enjoy, just
That's
being
lovely.
outside, because I do feel like that brings me a lot of peace when I'm out in nature. So yeah, that's one of the things I enjoy. What about you?
So my biggest hobby is probably netball. So
Yeah.
I got into netball when I was at school, and played it throughout school, at university. And now I still play netball a little bit. I used to do like a fun league on like a weeknight, just because I didn't fancy the competition side of things
Yeah.
anymore. And now I coach, like it's called Kids Squad. So it's
Yeah.
a children's netball team really for children. We've got the youngest child's in year 1, so year 1 to year 6, and we just do lots of ball skills on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
So that's really fun.
Is that local to here, or is it nearer where you live?
It's nearer to where I live, so it's in Warwickshire. It's in Kenilworth,
Yeah.
but there is one in Coventry actually. So there is one. I think it's at Henry VIII School.
Well, there you go. If you're interested in getting into netball, get in touch with Miss Starkey. She can put you in touch with the right people.
Definitely, it's boys and girls as well, so anyone's welcome.
Is there anything else that you like to do in your spare time?
I am an avid reader.
Yeah.
I do like to read. I read loads and loads of books. I do enjoy reading children's books, and I think that's really helped my reading lessons this year. Just being able to connect with the children about books they've read
and
and recommending each other. So I love doing that. Like, you can always find me with a good book.
That's a bit of an insight. I think all teachers read a lot of children's books.
100%. And
We enjoy it,
then
don't we?
Travel and food quite
Yes.
often. My weekend is often
I should have probably said that. Travel.
revolving around food and travel where possible. So just we go all over the place trying different things, and
Yeah.
often you see places online that are recommended, or friends have got recommendations,
Yeah.
and we go looking.
Yeah, we're always asking each other, where are you going in this half term? What are you going to do in this holiday?
100%.
Yeah, that is so important to have those breaks when you're having, a really busy work schedule. But thank you, Miss Starkey. That's been really insightful. I've learned a lot more about you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, so in episode 1, we had our children from year 2 presenting on their aspirations, and they were so excited to do it that we've asked our year 5s to come and share with you their aspirations for this second episode. So enjoy. Hi, I'm really excited to have one of our pupils here to interview about his aspirations. So before we do that, can I ask you to introduce yourself, your name and the class that you are in?
So, my name's Jensen, and I'm in year 5.
And brilliant, thank you. And what do you aspire to be when you get older?
I want to be a vet
What makes you want to be a vet?
because I like animals, and I recently just got a puppy,
Oh, did you? What's your puppy's name?
Marley,
Marley. How old is your puppy?
about 11 weeks old.
What do you know the breed?
He's a golden retriever, and
Wow.
I really like him.
Oh, brilliant. Have you been playing with him lots at home?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Every time I walk him, loads of people say, I've always wanted a golden retriever.
Oh, do they? They all say how lovely he is.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So he's part of your inspiration for wanting to be a vet. Is there any other inspiration?
So one time I was on YouTube, and I saw a cat that was really hurt, and then a vet really helped them, and they were really healthy after.
Did the cat need an operation?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that made the cat better.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Do you know what you might need to be doing now to help prepare to be a vet in the future?
No, not really.
Well, do you need to be working very hard at school, maybe?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what kind of qualifications you're going to need for that job?
Maybe I need to go to maybe I need to get taught about animals and how they work.
You're probably going to need to go to university, aren't you? You definitely are going to need to go to university to train to be a vet. So it's a bit like a doctor, isn't it? But for animals. So you're going to need to do quite a lot of training before you're able to be a vet. But you can do it, Jensen. Have every faith in you. You've got to go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, be determined.
Okay.
Good boy. Hi, so this is our second pupil here to talk to us about their aspirations from our Key Stage 2 part of school. So would you like to introduce yourself to everybody and tell them what class you're in?
My name is Ethan and I am in year 5.
Like Jensen, aren't you? So my question for you is, what do you aspire to be when you grow up?
I would like to be a pilot.
Oh, pilot. Do you know what? You won't know this, but we've already interviewed some year 2 children, and one of those children had a few options, but one of them was a pilot, just like you. So can I ask you, what's your inspiration? Why do you want to be a pilot?
I want to be a pilot because I'll be able to travel across the world and help people get to their destinations.
Brilliant. Have you been on a plane before?
Yes.
Yeah? And did you really enjoy being on the plane as a passenger?
Partly because after the plane drive, I always have to suck on some candy because because whenever I'm on a plane, it makes me a little bit deaf, and if you suck on some on some boiled candy, then it will make you undeaf.
Exactly, or make you, well, your ears pop, don't they, because you're going up really high, and equally when you come down sometimes your ears can pop. My ears hurt on a plane as well, but that still hasn't put you off.
No.
Your ears hurting. You have still decided that it's a pilot that you want to be. Have you any idea what kind of level of qualification you are going to need to become a pilot?
I honestly don't really know.
Well, I think that you're going to have to work really, really hard in school, all the way through primary, all the way through secondary, and then I think you're probably going to have to go to university as well. You're certainly going to have to do some training after school to learn how to be a pilot, because it's quite an important job with lots of responsibility. All of those passengers on that flight are looking to you, aren't they, when you're the person that is piloting the plane, driving the plane to where it needs to go. Are you thinking like a holiday pilot? You'd like to take people on holiday, or are you thinking more like joining the forces, being like an Air Force, a member of the Air Force?
If I can't take people on holiday, then I will go for the Royal Air Force.
Okay, interesting. I wish that you will be. Well, I'll still be here when you get that far in your career, and you can come back and you can say, Mrs. Harris, I'm a pilot. Or even better, one day I'll be on a plane going on holiday and you'll be the pilot. Hi, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Okay, so my name is Brianna and I'm in year 5.
Brilliant. And I've asked you to come and talk to me today about what your aspirations are and what you'd like to be when you grow up. So would you like to share with everybody your aspiration?
So I would like to be a doctor when I grow up.
How long have you had that ambition?
I don't know, since when I was 5.
Since you were 5? Yeah. Wow, that's a brilliant ambition. Do you know what my little girl is 4? And she's got an ambition. Do you know what it is?
No.
It's not to be a doctor. It's to be a tooth fairy. She wants to be a tooth fairy. So I've been talking to her about all the things you need to be able to do to be a really good tooth fairy. I wonder if you know, what are all the things you think you need to be really good at to become a doctor?
So I should do good in school.
Yeah.
And I think I might have to go to university.
I think you definitely will have to go to university, and you might have to be really good at sciences, mightn't you? And really understand biology if we're going to be a doctor. Have you got any idea what type of doctor you want to be?
No.
Like a surgeon who does operations? Or you could be, you need to think about this, I'll give you some ideas. You could be a surgeon doing the operations, or you could be like a GP who works at a practice near where people live, where you go if you've got a sore throat or if you've got something wrong with you, to go and get some medicine to make you better. There's lots of different types of doctors. So maybe you could do a little bit of research about what type of doctor you would like to be. Have you got anybody that's inspired you to want to be a doctor?
No.
No? No, you haven't got any reason why you want to be a doctor?
Oh, I do, because I like helping people.
Ah, brilliant. You like helping people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think being a doctor is really the best way of helping people, probably, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for interviewing with me.
Okay, and on our section of book talk this week, we also have another person we'd like to talk to from our school community, and this person is actually a member of staff. And we have with us Dell. So Dell, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes, I would. My name's Dell. I'm a DRA at the school, and I work at lunchtime.
And you work looking after the children at lunchtime, and
Yes.
you predominantly work with year
five.
Yeah, year 5 you take to lunch, don't you? So Dell is going to talk to us about a book she's been reading recently. So I know Dell is an avid reader. Dell is always recommending books to people, aren't you, Dell, and telling people about books she's read, ones they might like. And we often have chats about what we're reading. So it's really great to get you on our podcast, Dell. Can you tell us a little bit about a book that you read recently, or a book that's a favourite one of yours that you'd recommend to our listeners?
Well, I read one which was called The Authentic Project, which is based basically on a young girl who finds a book in a tea room. And she reads in this book something that someone had written and left a message. And she follows this mystery and reads the book and passes it on to other people.
Oh, wow.
And I don't want to say too much
No, I was going to say, don't give it away. It
The
sounds
ending is very moving. I had a box of tissues, so it's very moving. And this book gets passed to people. And basically at the end of the book, because I don't want to spoil it, it changes all these people's lives.
Wow.
And it's partly a bit of a mystery, because they do find that the person who actually left the message, they find this person and they go back in time to trace and find out about him and how it affected his life and how it affects all the people's lives in the book. So if you should decide to read the book, you need to get yourself a box of tissues.
Brilliant. Well, we'll note that down. We'll put that in our show notes as well, so people who would like to read that, because you've given us a real good taster of what the story's about, and you've got me intrigued. I'm fancying reading that one next.
Actually, I might pop it in for you tomorrow.
Oh, yes, please. Can you?
Yes. But I do have to say it's a book, because I've got so many books and I do have to pass them on. But this book is one that
It's a special one.
I say if you borrow it, you have to give it me
Okay,
back.
I promise. Write your name in it.
Yeah.
You can write me a secret message in it.
Yes. So, but it is a book that I think probably when you first pick it up, it's not one of those books that you turn the first page and you can't put it down, but it takes a little while to get into it, and it's the adventure of the lives and the way it changes people's lives.
Fantastic. That sounds great. I'd love to give it a go. Thanks, Dell. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking to us.
Hi, Evie Grace.
Hi.
I've invited you here today because I just wanted you to explain to our parents and our viewers what you've been doing in Assembly today, because this podcast is new and it's all about celebrating our amazing successes at Whittle. And I think that this morning you've done something that celebrates our pupil voice at Whittle, because we believe in you talking, you sharing your ideas. So do you want to tell everybody, what did you do in Assembly this morning where you shared your ideas?
We were talking about the toilets and how we could change them up and make them more tidier.
Yeah, you've been quite concerned, haven't you, about children not necessarily throwing their tissue in the right place into the toilet and flushing the chain and looking after the environment. So you wrote your own assembly, didn't you?
Yeah.
And this morning you presented it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? What's the aim of that? What are we trying to achieve?
Just to be a good school
Yeah.
in general.
And take care for our environment, really, isn't it? That's one of the things that we believe in, isn't it? Okay, thank you. Alison, this morning in Assembly you presented, didn't you? Would you like to tell everybody what you were presenting?
Me and a group, we were presenting about how the bathrooms aren't getting very taken care of by
Okay.
children, and the library.
You're quite concerned about it, aren't you? And you focused on the toilets, didn't you, and the state of our toilets. And do you want to tell everybody some of the ideas that we came up with in terms of how we can make them a bit better?
We had some ideas from the children that maybe we should stop messing around and then just go into the bathroom and out instead of just talking and messing around. Yeah,
definitely. We were saying, why would you want to mess about in the toilets? I don't understand it really. Just go to the toilet and leave the toilet and flush your tissue into the toilet. Yeah? We had a big discussion, didn't we? And hopefully in a few weeks, what are we going to do?
Hopefully we're going to see a change. And we might do another assembly to see if anything has changed.
Brilliant, because you want to see the impact of that assembly, don't we? Well done. Hi Jihan, I've asked you to come and present in our podcast because you have been working really hard on writing an assembly, haven't you, to share with our children at Whittle. Can you tell us about what you've been doing to prepare for that assembly?
So we had to see like what we could do to improve, and in the library, and see what needed to like stop. So we had to we found a few people who wanted to like say stuff about the library, and then we put all of that into the assembly, and then we presented it.
Brilliant. And today, what was really exciting in your assembly is that you had children doing partner talk when they were talking about the library. They were contributing their ideas, you were taking feedback, you were then going back and scribing what it was that they were saying. So you were really copying how we do our assemblies, and it was really great to see. Thank you, Jihan. And that brings us to the end of our second podcast. So thank you very much for listening again. I just want to finish really by asking for any volunteers. If anybody wants to come and take part in our podcast or has any ideas of chapters that they would like to see, then please do, again, get in touch with us at school. We'd love to hear your ideas. Thanks again.